In this unit circle survival guide, we're going to find the exact value of cosecant of negative 2 pi over 3, and we're going to use the SARC method. So SARC is just an acronym, and here's a quick outline so that we can look through all the steps before we get started. So the S stands for sketch the angle. You'll sketch the terminal side of the angle to know which quadrant you're in. A stands for A.S.T.C, and this is a nice little acronym that will help you know which trig functions are positive in each quadrant. So you'll know if your final answer is positive or negative. And we'll talk more about that as we work through this example. The R stands for reference triangle. So you'll find the reference angle and then the special right triangle and coordinates that go with that angle. And then the C stands for calculate. So you'll calculate the trig ratio you want. And so again, we're going to do this for cosecant of negative 2 pi over 3. So as we begin, we know our first step is to sketch the angle's terminal side. We should notice that our angle is negative. All this means is that we have clockwise rotation. So moving from our standard position, 0 radians of rotation, we know that a half rotation of clockwise rotation would get us to negative pi. So that's a half rotation. And then to know where our angle's terminal side should be, it may help you to rewrite negative pi so that it has a common denominator with our angle. So that's simply negative 3 pi over 3. And I think that helps you see that we would divide this section or this amount of rotation into 3 equal pieces. So here you would have negative 1 pi over 3, and thus negative 2 pi over 3 must be here. So our angle's terminal side is in the third quadrant. And now we're ready to move to step 2, so A.S.T.C. Think all students take classes, and this will tell us which trig functions are positive in each quadrant. So start in quadrant 1 and we'll label A.S.T.C. And so working our way around again, all trig functions are positive in the first quadrant. Sine, the S tells you sine, and then its reciprocal also, cosecant, are the ones that are positive in quadrant 2. All the rest are negative. In quadrant 3, which is the one that we are concerned with for this exact value, only tangent and cotangent are positive. Since we're trying to find the cosecant of our angle of negative 2 pi over 3, let's go ahead and mark that our answer should be negative. So I like to circle it in my notes, but also go ahead and put that negative sign in your final answer space. And that eliminates the possibility that you forget a negative sign. Or if you try to calculate with negatives, sometimes that just, you maybe made a mark too slight, or you just forgot a mark. And when then performing your calculation, your answer is incorrect. So go ahead and tackle it in this early stage, and then you don't have to worry about it as you go through. If you were to continue into quadrant 4, the C tells you that cosine and its reciprocal secant are the positive trig ratios in quadrant 4. All right, so now we're ready to move on to step 3. R tells us to find the reference triangle. So first we need to find the reference angle. Okay, and that's just the angle formed by the x-axis and the terminal side of your angle. So that's this angle here. And it's pretty easy to count since we have our diagram labeled. Our angle is negative 2 pi over 3, and so to rotate to the x-axis to negative 3 pi over 3, that's just a pi over 3 rotation. So we would say our reference angle is pi over 3, or that's 60 degrees, and usually when we talk about special right triangles, we're in degrees. So here is the special right triangle that has a central angle of 60 degrees. So it's your 60, 30, 90 triangle. I will post a link that has videos that have a review of your special right triangles. So if you need that, check those out. It'll be in the video description. But for now, let's assume we know the coordinates that go with a 60, 30, 90 special right triangle. They are 1/2 for the x and square root of 3 over 2 for the y. So look at that shorter leg that's horizontal. 1/2 is smaller than the square root of 3 over 2. So that's a nice way to remember which coordinate is what. And now finally we can calculate. So we have our coordinates, and we just need to recall that the cosecant of an angle on the unit circle is simply going to be the reciprocal of sine, the y coordinate. So it's just 1 over the y coordinate. And remember, we already decided their final answer is negative in the second step. So here's the y-coordinate. We want to take the reciprocal, so we can write it like this, but really we know that dividing by a fraction flips it. So that's 2 over square root of 3, and then we need to rationalize. So multiply by square root of 3 over square root of 3, and that gives us 2 square root of 3 over 3 as our value. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you simply know that the reciprocal of square root of 3 over 2 is this 2 root 3 over 3. All right, so we know that the cosecant of negative 2 pi over 3 must be negative from that step 2 square root of 3 over 3. Hopefully this example helped you understand the SARC method for finding exact values. I will post more examples, so check the video description for a link to that playlist. And good luck with your exact values. Thanks for watching.